Hello, viewers, welcome. Today we are going to discuss a very famous tragedy, Hamlet. The tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. Full title is this, and this has been written by William Shakespeare. Now, let's get started. So, this genre of this drama is tragedy. Setting is Denmark. The tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, often called to Hamlet. It is often called Hamlet, just with a short name, and is a tragedy written by William Shakespeare, sometimes between 1599 and 1601. So, actual date of writing is not known, and it is Shakespeare's longest play with 29,551 words. Set in Denmark. This setting is Denmark, a country. The play depicts Prince Hamlet and his attempts to take revenge against his uncle. Claudius, who has murdered Hamlet's father in order to seize his throne and marry Hamlet's mother. So there was a senior king Hamlet, and he has been murdered by his brother Claudius, and Prince Hamlet is there to avenge his death. And not just that Claudius has murdered his brother, he has also married his sister-in-law Gertrude. Hamlet is considered among the most powerful and influential tragedies in English language, with a story capable of seemingly endless retelling and adaptations by others. So this tragedy is very famous, and this is a revenge tragedy, and it has been adapted in many forms, in many films also, in Hollywood also, in Bollywood also. And in Bollywood there is a film called Heather, which is based on Hamlet. There are many works that have been pointed to as possible sources for Shakespeare's play, from ancient Greek tragedies to Elizabethan plays. When Shakespeare wrote, there were many stories about sons avenging the murder of their father, and many about clever avenging sons pretending to be foolish in order to outsmart their foes. So, this was a trend to write revenge tragedies in those days, in those Elizabethan days, 16th century, and this is a very famous revenge tragedy. Apart from this, Shakespeare has also written many revenge tragedy like Coriolanus and Titus and Andronicus. But this tragedy is very famous. Now let's discuss about the characters in this drama. Chief characters, main characters. Hamlet. Hamlet, son of late king and nephew of the present king, Claudius. So Hamlet is the main character, and he is son of late King Hamlet the senior, and he is nephew to present King Claudius, and he is a protagonist of the drama. Now next character is Claudius. Claudius is present King of Denmark, and he is Hamlet's uncle and brother to former King Hamlet the senior. Now Gertrude. Gertrude is Queen of Denmark. She was Queen of Denmark earlier also, and she is Hamlet's mother, and she has married her brother-in-law Claudius. Now Polonius. Polonius is chief counselor to the king. He's a sycophant kind of person. Now Ophelia. Ophelia is a very beautiful, and she is daughter of Polonius, and she is also lover of Hamlet, love interest of Hamlet. Now Horatio. Horatio is friend of Hamlet. He was studying in Germany, Wittenberg, with Hamlet for many years, and he is close confidant of Hamlet. Uh, Hamlet trusts just Horatio and nothing, nobody else. Leotis. Leotis is a Polonius' son, and he studies in Paris. Now Voltamand and Cornelius, they are courtiers. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are courtiers, and they were former friends of Hamlet, childhood friends of Hamlet. Then Osric. Osric was a courtier. Marcellus an officer. Bernardo an officer. They were guards also, guarding the fort of Elsinore, that fort of Denmark. Then we will move on to the main summary, main the story of the drama. Prince of Denmark is the son of recently deceased King Hamlet and nephew of King Claudius, his father's brother and successor. So now story begins. What happens? There is a Prince Hamlet, and he is a Prince of Denmark, and he is son of King Hamlet, and he is also nephew of King Claudius, and his father has been murdered by his brother Claudius, and he has seized his throne of that senior Hamlet. And Claudius hastily married King Hamlet's widow Gertrude, Hamlet's mother, and took the throne for himself. So, after murdering his brother, he has seized the throne. Claudius has seized the throne of Denmark, and not just that, he has married his own sister-in-law Gertrude. And in the public, he has said that my brother died because of a snake bite. When he was retiring, he was reclining on the bed in garden, but actually he has poured very dangerous poison in the ears of his brother. And Hamlet also doesn't know about this fact, but he is just grieved that how come his mother can hastily marry her own brother-in-law, that Claudius. Now, Denmark has a long standing feud with neighboring Norway. So, there is a neighboring country called Norway, and Denmark is fighting battle with this country, Norway, and in which King Hamlet slew King Fortinbras of Norway in a battle some years ago. So, what happened? There was a battle some years ago, and in that battle, King Hamlet has killed King Fortinbras, which was earlier king of Norway, and that was an incident few years ago. Now, although Denmark defeated Norway, and the Norwegian throne fell to King Fortinbras' deceased brother. Not sorry, this is not deceased brother. Now, Denmark fears that an invasion led by the dead Norwegian king's son, Prince of Fortinbras, is imminent. So, what happens now that Norway is in the charge of the brother of Fortinbras, King Fortinbras, and but there is a still one person called he is a prince for Fortinbras, and he wanted to avenge his father's death by attacking Denmark. So there is another son who is trying to avenge his father's death. This whole tragedy is a revenge tragedy. Now, late at night, guards on the battlement of the Denmark Elsinore castle are met by Horatio, Prince Hamlet's friends from school. So now scene 1 begins. Act 1, scene 1 begins. In the first scene, what happens? There is a scene of late nights, and guards are meeting, and they are meeting at the Denmark's Elsinore castle, and they are talking with Horatio. And Horatio is who? Horatio is best friend of Hamlet, who was reading with Hamlet in his school. His school, he was his childhood friend of Hamlet. Now the guards describe a ghost they have seen that resembles Hamlet's father. Now guards are telling that they have seen some ghost, and that the ghost exactly looked like Hamlet's father, the recently deceased king. That king has just died, and according to the people belief, Hamlet's father died because of snake bite. At that moment, the ghost reappears. What happens at the very moment that ghost of King Hamlet appears there, and the guards and the Horatio decide to tell Hamlet, and they decide that they will tell this incident to Hamlet. After the ghost appears again, the three woo to tell Prince Hamlet what they have witnessed. So what happens here when ghost of King Hamlet appears? They wanted to talk with that ghost, but that ghost appeared somewhere, then elsewhere. So and that ghost was not ready to talk with those guards. So now these guards decided that they will tell all this incident to Prince Hamlet himself. Now, Claudius, Hamlet's uncle, married Hamlet's recently widowed mother. becoming the new king of Denmark. So Claudius has become new king of Denmark, and he has not just killed Hamlet, and he has also married his sister-in-law Bhabi. Hamlet continued to mourn for his father's death and lament his mother's lack of loyalty. So Hamlet is a loving son, and he all the time he thinks about his father, how his father was dead. But he doesn't know that his father had been killed. He just think that his father has died so soon, and he is mourning his death. He is all the time depressed. But apart from this, just death of his father, he is very upset with the hastiness of his mother, that how come his mother can marry her own brother-in-law. According to Hamlet, this is incest. When Hamlet hears of a ghost from Horatio, he wants to see it for himself. So now, when Hamlet hears from Horatio that his father ghost has appeared in the walls of that Elsinore castle, he is very excited to meet his father, although he is in the form of ghost. But that doesn't matter. He want to meet him anyhow. The court gathers the next day. Now, now king has summoned the court, and they are gathered to meet people. And King Claudius and Queen Gertrude discusses affairs of states. Now they are new king and queen, as you can see the pictures. Here Claudius, Gertrude, Hamlet, and they're discussing the affairs. And they are studying the affairs of the state with their elderly advisor Polonius. So Polonius is a very important character in this drama. He is a old man. He is a old advisor, and his name is Polonius. And he's a sycophant kind of person. And Claudius grants permission for Polonius' son Letus to return to school in France. So now he is sycophantly asking permission of King Claudius that my son want to return to his son. Letus is studying in Paris. For some time he has come there to Denmark. Now he is seeking his permission, Claudius' permission, that my son again want to return to his study to Paris. So I want your permission. As if king will not permit, he will not send his son to study. And he sends Annoy to inform the king of Norway about Fortinbras. So now what happens? There was some trouble between Denmark and Norway, and that king of Norway, that prince of Norway is troubling that Denmark, and they have sent some Annoy messenger to king of Norway that your nephew is bothering us, that Prince Fortinbras is bothering us. Otherwise, king of the Miss Norway is not bothering anybody. Now, Claudius also questions Hamlet regarding his continuing to grieve for his father. Now what happens here, that Hamlet is very upset with his father's death, and he's all the time mourning his death. All the time he's depressed and doing nothing. So that Claudius is asking that don't feel bad about your father's death. I am also your father, although I'm your stepfather and your uncle, but still I'm your father. And he forbids him to return to his school in Wittenberg. So now Hamlet has planned to return to Wittenberg, Germany, to pursue his study more. But now here, Claudius is telling Hamlet, you don't go, beta. You don't go to Wittenberg, and you just stay here, and you take care of the state affairs. And at the same time, Gertrude is also requesting his Hamlet that we love you, beta. You don't go to Germany. You just stay here, and we will be happy here. And you just get out of your mourning, because death is something which is very destined, and everybody, whoever have come to this life, we must go. So don't mourn your father's death anymore. Now after the and Hamlet is disgusted by all these talks. After the exists. Hamlet glooms of his father's death and his mother's hasty marriage. But Hamlet is not just a flimsy character. He's just not a low kind of person. He's very much in love with his father. He's a loving son, and so he's again mourning his father's death, and again he's brooding over the hasty marriage of his mother, Gertrude. Learning of the ghost of his fathers from Horatio, Hamlet resolved to see it himself. Now Horatio has come to Hamlet, and he has informed Hamlet about the how they have seen ghost of Hamlet there on the walls of the Elsinore Castle. Now Hamlet is very happy to meet his father ghost. Elsewhere, the royal attendant Polonius says farewell to his son Leotis, who is departing for Paris. Now the scene shifted to the that fort of Polonius, and he is telling farewell to his son Leotis, who is going to Paris to study, to further study in there. And Polonius offers him advices that culminates in his maxim to thine own self to be true. So now, when his son is going to foreign country, he is giving lots of advice to him, many advices. And Polonius' daughter, Ophelia. Polonius has a very beautiful daughter, Ophelia, and she is also love interest of Hamlet. Admits her interest in Hamlet. She is informing that Hamlet is in love with me, and I also love him. And but Leotis warned him against seeking the prince's attention. But Leotis is a very keen and very kind of selfish person, and he's telling that you just go, don't pursue love with Hamlet, because Hamlet is a prince and he has no will of his himself. He can't marry according to his own will. He is just seducing you, and he is just using you. So don't trust him, and you just um, do a break with that affair. And at the same time, Polonius orders her to reject his advances. And Polonius is also advising Ophelia that don't pursue your love affair, because there is no need of that, and you will just get grief out of that. So just forget him and let him forget you, and just you return all the gift which Hamlet has given you. Leotis warns his sister Ophelia away from Hamlet, and thinking too much of his attention towards him. So this happens, and Ophelia is a very docile kind of girl. She's very meek. She agrees whatever they say. So she says, "Okay, okay, bhai, okay, okay, dad. Whatever you are saying, I will obey that. I will forget Hamlet forever." So this see the picture of Hamlet meeting with ghost of his father here, Horatio and Marcellus. Now that night on the fortification on the walls of Elsinore Castle, the ghost appears to Hamlet and tells the prince that he was murdered by Claudius, and demand that Hamlet avenge the murder. Now, what happens here in the scene when Hamlet is going to meet his father's ghost, the Horatio and guards are warning him that don't go there. That is a ghost that can be malicious, that is a supernatural being. You just don't follow that. But Hamlet is very destined to go there, and he's telling that whoever come in my way, I will make you ghost, so I will kill you. So he has talked with his father of him, and that ghost tells him that how I have been murdered by my own brother, and how I was reclining in my bed in garden, and your chacha came there, and he poured that dangerous poison in my ears, and I was instantly murdered. And you must take avenge for my murder. If you love me, you just avenge my death. That's my request to you. Now Hamlet is very much disturbed because he never thought that his that uncle can do such thing. And he also, that ghost also said that your mother have been unfaithful to me. Now Hamlet was upset for that earlier also. Hamlet agrees, and the ghost vanishes. Now Hamlet says, "Okay, Papa, I will do whatever you are saying, and I will avenge your death any cost, at any cost." And then ghost vanishes. The prince confide to Horatio and the sentries that from now on, her plans to put an antique disposition on. This is a line from the play itself, that he is now telling that he will act as though he was gone mad. Means now he will start acting, and he will act as if he is a mad, although he is not mad. Although he is depressed, but he is not actually mad. He's just feigning. He's just acting like a mad person, so that he can befool his uncle, and he can make plans to take revenge from his uncle. Otherwise, Claudius is a very powerful person. It is very hard to take revenge from Claudius, because he is a king also, and he is all the time surrounded by many guards. So he has acquired this that weapon of madness. This question is also very important, that in exam also come, what whether the Hamlet was just feigning madness or he was a real mad. Now Hamlet forces them to swear to keep his plan for revenge secret. But now, when Hamlet meets those guards and they're asking what happens, what the ghost talked to you, and what he was talking, just tell us. Then Hamlet tell that you don't worry, he just talked me nothing, but you must promise me that whatever meeting was there between me and ghost, you must not tell to anybody, and it must be a promise, a pakka promise. However, he remains uncertain of the ghost reality. Now, what happens? Although Hamlet is a very loving son, but he is still at this point very not certain that whether that ghost was his father's ghost, or whether he was some malicious ghost, or some kind of Satan. So he want to verify that. Now Act 2 begins. According to his plan, Hamlet begins to act strangely. Now, as Hamlet has decided that now on I will act like a mad person, I will feign madness. He has started talking strangely. He started behaving strangely, and it's a very very funny speeches he gives, and he rejects Ophelia. And now earlier he loved Ophelia, but now in his life there is no position of love. There is no place for love. What he want is just revenge. So this Hamlet is a very revenge tragedy. The prime motto is revenge, and she rushes to her father, telling him that Hamlet arrived at her door the prior night, half undressed and behaving erratically. And now Ophelia goes and rushes to his father Polonius, and she tells that what happens earlier night. I met Hamlet, and he was talking to me very strangely. He was dressed very strangely. He was just half dressed, and he was just staring me, and he was not talking anything, and he was just watching me keenly, as if I have committed some mistake, or as if he wanted to read my mind and all those things. So she was just telling that. So the Polonius asked, that Polonius think that whether this is because of you have rejected his love. Ophelia says, I don't know, but I have done as you have said me, that that brother Leotis, and you have said that you must reject Hamlet's love. So he behaved like that. Now Polonius blames love for Hamlet's madness and resolved to inform Claudius and Gertrude. Now Polonius is a very psychophant, and he is now thinking that this is because of my means love of my daughter, that Hamlet has gone mad because Ophelia has rejected love of Hamlet, so he has gone mad, and he must inform this matter to Claudius and Gertrude, so that he can do get some favor from that king and queen, and he can, by that he can get some benefits. And now Claudius and Polonius, the royal attendants, spy on him. They had hoped to find the reason for Hamlet's sudden change in behavior, but could not as he enters to do so. The king and queen are welcoming Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Now, here what happens? Claudius goes there, and no, Polonius goes to Claudius, and he tells him about, informs him about all those things, that what happened between that Hamlet and Ophelia, and they started spying on them, and they are attempting to find the reason why Hamlet has gone mad and all those things. Now, the there was sudden change in behavior of Hamlet, so they are not able to get what is the reason of that change in behavior. And now, as he enters to do so, the king and queen are welcoming Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And now, here what happens? There is an entry of two more characters, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. They were school friends of Hamlet, childhood friends of Hamlet. And Claudius has employed these persons as a spy to know secrets of Hamlet's, that why he's mourning his father's death so much. What is the secret behind that? Is Hamlet is planning something, or is his throne is in danger in some means he's worried about his throne. Now, now the because actual that heir of that throne is Hamlet, Prince Hamlet, not that Claudius. Now, here what happens? The royal couple had requested that the two students investigate the cause of Hamlet's mood and behavior. So now Claudius says that you must check out that why your friend is behaving strangely, and you must inform me the reason. Additional news requires that Polonius wait to be heard. Messenger from the Norway informs Claudius that King of Norway has rebuked Prince Fortinbras for attempting to refight his father's battle. Now, here a good news for Claudius. Here what happens? As you know the story, that Hamlet King Senior has killed Fortinbras, and his brother is now king, and that Prince Fortinbras was avenging his death by attacking and by means irritating that Denmark. But now they have message that his original king of that Norway has rebuked his nephew Fortinbras, Prince Fortinbras, that you don't bother that Denmark, and now that prince is okay, and he is not fighting. He is not going to go for a refight with the Denmark. Now this problem has been solved. The forces the forces that Fortinbras had enrolled to march against Denmark will instead be sent to against Poland. Now, Prince Fortinbras is so destined to avenge the death of his father that he has already enrolled many soldiers to attack Denmark. But now, because of his uncle's request, he has set that soldiers against Poland, another country, and but though they will pass through Danish territory to get there, but in order to reach Poland they have to pass through they have to pass through Denmark to reach Poland. So they have asked for the permission also to go through the territory of Denmark. Now move on. Polonius tells Claudius and Gertrude his theory regarding Hamlet's behavior. Now Polonius tells everything, that what happens between Hamlet and that Ophelia, and then he speaks to Hamlet in hall of the castle to try to learn more. Now there is a very funny meeting between Polonius and Hamlet, and Polonius want to get the secret of why Hamlet is behaving strangely, why he is behaving like a mad person. But that Hamlet is too witty for that Polonius. He is just a befooling Polonius. He is talking. He's means he's that irritating Polonius at any cost. But Polonius is so sycophant, so low kind of person that he is not bothered about that. Hamlet feigned madness and subtly insult Polonius all the while. He insults him, he humiliates him, but he is not concerned about that. Polonius is not concerned about it that at all. When Rosencrantz and Guildenstern arrives, two friends of Hamlet, childhood friends of Hamlet, Hamlet greets his friends warmly, and he is very happy to see his friends that he has met. He met his friends after so many years, and he is very, very happy, but quickly discerns that they are there to spy on him for Claudius. But Hamlet is very smart, and when they start talking to him, Hamlet like, "Why are you so sad? What is the reason? Tell. Yeah, we are your friends. You must tell the reason why you are so upset about your father. Why you are mourning so much." Now Hamlet know that they are not my friend. They are just a spy of my uncle, my chacha. Hamlet admits that he is upset at his situation but refuses to give the true reason. Now here Hamlet admits that although he is upset, but his situation he said that okay, I'm not, no problem. He doesn't want to give the true reason because he know the what is the reliability of the that friends. Instead remaking what a piece of work is a man. So he just make a statement here, what a piece of work is a man. And he now trusts only Horatio, his best friend and reliable. Now Rosencrantz and Guildenstern tells Hamlet that they have brought along a troupe of actors that they met while traveling to Elsinore. So there is good news for Hamlet also. Here what happens, Hamlet's friend Guildenstern and Rosencrantz tells him that they were passing through and they have met some troupe of actors who act, go to some places and they act, and he has brought that traveling company to Elsinore and they are going to perform in that court of Elsinore, castle of Denmark, royal castle of Denmark. Now, Hamlet, after welcoming the actors and dismissing his friends turned spies, asked them to deliver a soliloquy about the death of King uh, Priam and Queen Hecuba at the climax of the Trojan War. So here what happens, he welcomes these actors and he dismisses, he let them, he let go the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and he talk very friendly with these actors. Hamlet is very fond of acting and he is very fond of drama, and now he is talking with them and he is telling that what are you going to perform, and they tell that they are performing death of King Priam and Queen Hecuba at the climax of the Trojan War. Now Hamlet then asked the fact actors to stage the murder of Gonzago. Now here Hamlet says that along with your story, you must perform some another story which I have written. That is a murder of Gonzago, a play featuring a death in style of a father's murder. So now he wanted to verify the story of ghost, that what happens, that a ghost has given the story that your uncle has poured dangerous poison in my ears and I was killed by that. So now here Hamlet has got that chance to verify that story, and now he says that you must perform this story and you must perform it with the dumb show, and we will go through the expression of Claudius. Now Hamlet intend to study Claudius reaction to the play and hereby determine the truth of ghost story of the Claudius guilt. So by that way he want to study the mind of Claudius, the facial expression of Claudius, the chor ki dadi mein tinka, that how he is going to react by watching that play, and how if he will be guilty, he will feel the guiltiness will come to his face, and so he can know that his ghost of his father was telling right or wrong. And so this technique is called play within play, and mousetrap also. This part has been called mousetrap and play within play. Now Act 3 begins here. Here, Polonius forces Ophelia to return Hamlet's love letters to the prince while he and Claudius secretly watches in order to evaluate Hamlet's reaction. Here now that Polonius and Claudius is conspiring against Hamlet, and Polonius, the chief counselor of Claudius and sycophant, has ordered his daughter Ophelia that you must return all the love letters and all the gift of Hamlet which he has given to you. And in the meantime, they are telling that we will watch reaction of Hamlet. We will watch the behavior of Hamlet, me and King Claudius. I and King Claudius. Hamlet is walking alone in the hall as the king and Polonius awaits Ophelia entrance. So now Hamlet is just walking, he is talking to himself, he is doing some soliloquy, and here Ophelia enters, and Hamlet muses on the thought of life versus death. Whenever Hamlet is alone, he muses a lot. He makes many soliloquies. There is total 7 soliloquies in this play. The famous soliloquies "To Be or Not to Be." He's in sometimes he's so depressed that he contemplate doing suicide. To be or not to be, that's the question. And he ponders on the mortality, on the contemplates on the life and death, and so he is just musing over the death. And when Ophelia enters and tries to return Hamlet's things, so Ophelia is telling that now the affair between you and I has totally collapsed, we have done breakup, so I must return all those things to you. And Hamlet accuses her of more immodesty and cries, "Get thee to nunnery." Earlier, what happens? Earlier, Hamlet was very happy to see Ophelia, and he was talking with Ophelia very politely. But suddenly he realizes that somebody is watching him, somebody is observing his behavior, and he's talking with Ophelia. So he has totally gone that talking like a mad person. He's accusing Ophelia that you go to nunnery, you have very dangerous situation here, you go to nunnery. And though it is unclear whether his two is show of madness or genuine distress. And here we can't tell that this is a madness or he's just distressed about that Ophelia. And these are the clippings from these are images from the movie. And his reaction convinces Claudius that Hamlet is not mad for love. So here Hamlet is doing something. He's giving some reactions, talking something, which is convincing Claudius that Hamlet is mad. Although Hamlet is mad, but it is not the cause. The love is not the cause of that madness. Hamlet is not that mad lover. Shortly thereafter, the court assembled to the watch the play Hamlet has especially mad. Here, they now the court summons and they watch the play. That here you can see the picture. The play is being performed. The murder of Gonjago. Here, the his brother is pouring poison after seeing the player king murdered by his rival pouring poison in air. So now that scene begins, and here what happens, there is a actor king and actor queen, and they come to stage and they talk very politely, they embrace each other, they talk lovingly. They said that I will die for you. Queen say I will not live for a moment when you will die, and I love you so much. But at that time, that actor king said that although you love me, but if I will dead, then you will marry somebody else. But then queen is telling that no, no, I will not marry that. And here Hamlet comes to his mother and asks, "Are you enjoying this performance, Mama?" Then Queen Gertrude says that, "Okay, but that lady is telling, that queen is telling so much about love." Now then what happens here, that so after some time a person come there and he pours poison in the ears of that king. At the time that queen has left that stage, and that actor king died immediately. So after seeing the player kings murdered by his rival pouring poison in his ears, Claudius abruptly rises. Now Claudius has become conscious of his guilt, and he abruptly rises and from his seat, and he runs from the room. His face has turned pale, and for Hamlet this is a proof of his uncle's guilt. Now Hamlet is too much sure, more than sure, that this Claudius is the murderer of my father, and I must avenge the death of my father at any cost. Now there is no question of delay. Now Hamlet has a, flaw, tragic flaw. In every Shakespearean tragedy, there is a hamartia, tragic flaw, and here the tragic flaw is procrastination, that is delaying of the action. Hamlet broods too much. Everything sets him action. Everything sets him thinking. He just think pros and cons. He just think of morality, and in this way. Now Hamlet mistakenly stabs Polonius. Here now what happens? It will come earlier, later on. Gertrude summons Hamlet to her chamber to demand an explanation. Now here what happens? The play's performance is now stopped, and everybody goes to their place. And that meanwhile Claudius talks to himself about the impossibility of repenting. Now Claudius is in very repenting mood. He is repenting for his guilt, because he has killed his own brother and married his own sister-in-law, and he's trying to pray, but he's not able to pray because his guilt is so much. And since he still has a possession of his ill-gotten goods, because he is still he has thrown with him, and he has still his wife, so he can't repent with all those things, enjoying the same, that eating the cake and having it too, and his brother's crown and wife. So he's enjoying crown also and wife also, and both of them are illegal. And he sinks to his knees, and he tries to pray. Hamlet on this way to visit his mother. Now that Gertrude has summoned Hamlet to meet with her, and Hamlet is passing through that chamber, and he is just watching Claudius praying. He sneaks out there. He comes there, and behind him, but he does not kill him. And at first, he want to kill Claudius, because he is seeing that there is no bodyguards. He can kill him easily. Otherwise, he's a king. He is surrounded by many bodyguards all the time. So at this time he can kill, but he reasoning that killing Claudius while he is praying will send him straight to heaven, while his father's ghost is stuck in purgatory. Now he is thinking that my uncle is praying at this time, and if I kill him, he will go to heaven because he is praying, he is seeking forgiveness from God, and he will enjoy the facilities of heaven. But there, my father is burning in the hellfire, and he is wandering like a ghost. So I can't do that, and I will must postpone this to later on. So he has the habit of, you can see the picture, Claudius praying, and there is a Hamlet. So here he has a problem of procrastination, tragic flaw, hamartia, of inaction. In every Shakespearean tragedy, there is a tragic flaw. In Macbeth, there is a vaulting ambition, excessive ambitions, and in that King Lear, pride is there, and in that Othello, there is a that has rashness of action. So the exact opposite qualities of that Othello is Hamlet. Now in the queen's bedchamber, now Hamlet reaches to bedchamber of that queen Gertrude, his mother bedchamber. Hamlet and Gertrude fight bitterly. They are having arguments. That Gertrude is telling, "Why are you behaving so with your father? He is your father now. You are misbehaving with him. You are irritating him." But that Hamlet is very rude, and he's telling that he is not my father. Don't call me my father. My father was very virtuous person. He is just a filthy beast. Now Polonius spying on the conversation from behind the tapestry. Now Polonius is there, and he's spying on Hamlet and Gertrude. He's behind the tapestry, behind the curtains. Here you can see the picture, and then there is so much argument, and then when Hamlet was talking about his father, ghost of Hamlet appears there, and he tells that you just don't irritate your mother, you just concentrate on your uncle, and you take revenge from your uncle, and you don't go after your mother. Just leave her alone. She will get her that means proper place at any cost. So now Hamlet is talking to his father that okay, I will do that, I will avenge your death. Now Gertrude love for his for her earlier husband is not true, so she is not able to see ghost of Hamlet. So she is telling that oh my god, my son has gone mad, he is talking to some wall, there's nobody, and he is talking like a mad person. But Hamlet is telling, you can't see, there is my father, he is so virtuous, you can't see, you see picture of my father in this way. So this happens, and now he takes hand of Gertrude, and he's telling that you must not sleep with my uncle anymore, you must not let him kiss you, and you must not tell my secret to your husband. And then that Gertrude tell that okay, I will not tell anything to that Claudius. But somehow she is irritated, and she is asking for she's crying for help, and calls for help as a Gertrude, and believing Hamlet wants to kill her, Hamlet calls out for help, that call for help. So here Polonius is hiding behind that tapestry, and when he listened that Gertrude is asking for help, and he thought that Hamlet is going to kill his mother, so he also started that crying, help, help, please help. Now Hamlet is very much disturbed here, he is totally mad, he is in rage, and he thought that Claudius, his uncle, is spying on him, and then he just without thinking at any moment, he just that stabbed that his is that what was knife with and he killed that Polonius instantly. And but at that time Hamlet did not know that it was a Polonius, he thought that it was a Claudius. Hamlet, believing it Claudius, stabbed widely, he stabbed with his sword several times, and he kills Polonius, chief counselor of Claudius. But he pulls aside the curtain and sees his mistake. When he sees that it is not Claudius, is that's Polonius, he is very upset, because his father, he was father of Ophelia, who was love affair of love interest of Hamlet. So he is very upset that I have killed my means that father. You can say father of Ophelia, because now they have gone through breakup. In a rage, Hamlet brutally insulted his mother for her apparent ignorance of Claudius' villainy. Then you don't know how bad is Claudius. He has killed my father. But the ghost enters and reprehend Hamlet for his inaction and harsh word. Now ghost appears, and that you are just taking too much time. You are delaying action. You must take revenge fast, and you just don't bother your mother. Unable to see or hear the ghost herself, Gertrude takes Hamlet's conversation with as if further evidence of madness. Again, she is thinking that my son has gone mad. After begging the queen to stop sleeping with Claudius, Hamlet leaves, dragging Polonius' corpse away. Now he warned his mother, you don't tell whatever happened here to Claudius, and you must not sleep with Claudius anymore. And he drag Polonius' corpse and goes away. You can see here picture. Hamlet's dragging Polonius' dead body. Now Act 4th begin. Here Hamlet jokes with Claudius about when he has hidden Polonius' body. Now Claudius comes there, and he asks where is the dead body of Polonius, where he had hidden that. And Hamlet make many excuses. He doesn't tell that where he has hidden that. And Claudius, the king, fearing for his life, sends Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to accompany Hamlet to England and a sealed letter to the England king requesting that Hamlet be executed immediately. Now Claudius think that if I would have been in the place of that Polonius, I would have been killed. So the Hamlet has gone very very dangerous now. So it is a must for me that I must that close the chapter of Hamlet, and so he has sent. He want to send Hamlet to England in his pretext, and he in some pretext, and he want to execute Hamlet there. And mentally disturbed by grief at Polonius' death, Ophelia wanders Elsinore. Now Ophelia loved her father very much. Now after the death of her father Polonius, she has gone totally mad. She is wandering in the castle of Elsinore, in the Elsinore, and she is just singing songs. She is distributing flowers, and Leotus arrives back from France. Now that now that Leotis arrives back from France, and he is very much disturbed by death of his father, and he wanted to avenge that death, and his sister madness also. His sister Ophelia has gone mad, and he is also very much upset by that matter. And this whole tragedy is a revenge tragedy. Here Prince Hamlet is trying to take revenge for his father's death and his murder. And at the same time here Polonius is dead, and Leotis has decided to avenge his father's death. And at the other place in Norway, that Prince Fortinbras is trying to avenge his father's death, that King Hamlet no, sorry, King Fortinbras death, and which has been killed by King Hamlet, father of Prince Hamlet. So there's a revenge motive is very clear here, and Claudius convinces Leotis that Hamlet is solely responsible. Now Claudius is a very clever person, very mean person, and when Leotis come there, he convinces him totally that I am not at all responsible for your father's death. It is just Hamlet who is responsible for that. And but at a later soon letter arrives soon, indicating that Hamlet has returned to Denmark, fooling Fortinbras' plan. Now that Fortinbras has earlier made some plan, and he has sent Rosencrantz and Guildenstern with Hamlet, and he has sent some letter to England where he has written that you must kill that Hamlet. But when Hamlet was able to hear that news, and he happened to read that letter, and he read that letter, and he just changed that letter, and he sent another letter that whoever bringing this letter, you must kill that person. So now the chapter is of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern is going to be closed, and now Hamlet has informed that I have been gone through all those things to his Horatio, and he is returning to Denmark again. Now Claudius is very upset, and he is upset that his plan has been failed. Claudius switches tactics. Now he is changing his plans, proposing to fencing match between Leotis and Hamlet to settle their differences. Now he had decided that he will get some another plan to kill Hamlet, and now he has provoked Leotis that it is Hamlet who is responsible for badness of Ophelia and murder of your father. So you must avenge Hamlet, and there can be some fencing match between you, and where you can kill Hamlet. Now Leotis will be given a poisonous tipped foil, and if that fails, Claudius will offer Hamlet's poison wine as a congratulation. Now they are preparing plans that Leotis is telling that Leotis also very means a very clever person, you can say, an evil person here, and he is telling that I will have a very sharp sword with me, and I will tip my sword with poison, and when I will that hurt that Hamlet, and if I will hit Then here Claudius told that if plan will be filled, I will prepare some wine there and as a moment of congratulation, and I will pour poison in that goblet, and Hamlet will be killed by that. So there is many plan for Hamlet murder. Gertrude interrupts to report that Ophelia has drowned. Now Gertrude, mother of Hamlet, comes there, and she interrupts their talking. And although she is not able to hear what was planning going through, and because anyhow she was mother of Hamlet, so she loved Hamlet at any cost. And though it is unclear whether it was suicide or an accident caused by her madness. Now Gertrude is telling that that Ophelia is dead, and it is not clear that whether she was killed by some accident or some there was a suicide case. And she just told that she was just trying to pick flowers from that tree, and she was drowned in that pool. You can see the picture Ophelia drowning here. Now, Act 5, last act begins here. Here, Horatio has received a letter from Hamlet explaining that Prince escaped by negotiating with pirates and attempted to attack his England stand ship. Now, um, Hamlet has told that how he got through those Rosencrantz and Guildenstern and how he was escaped, and he want to meet him. And on the way back to Denmark, Hamlet meets Horatio in graveyard. There is meeting between Horatio and Hamlet in the graveyard, and along with the grave diggers, the grave diggers, they are grave diggers. You can see the picture, and here Horatio is there, and where they talk of the chances of life and death. Here he takes out some skull from that grave, and they are talking about that, and that this is skull of Yorick. Yorick was a jester of King Hamlet's that King Hamlet's court. Two grave digger discusses Ophelia apparent suicide. They're discussing about Ophelia suicide. At that time, Hamlet was not knowing that Ophelia is dead. And while digging her grave, Hamlet arrives with Horatio and chit chat with one of the grave digger, who digs the skull of the jester from the Hamlet's childhood Yorick. So there is a Hamlet's childhood jester Yorick, and he has got that skull, Hamlet with the skull, you can see it. And Hamlet picks up the skull saying, alas poor Yorick. Now he is contemplating on life and death, upon the mortality. He contemplates on mortality, and he is telling that what a good jester he was, but his jokes will not now he will not able to crack any jokes because he is dead forever. Ophelia funeral procession approaches there, and it is led by Laertes, his brother. And Hamlet and Horatio initially hides there because they don't want to show their faces to king and queen. But when Hamlet realizes that it is the Ophelia is the one who is being buried, he reveals himself, stating that his love for her. That now he comes from his hiding place, and he tells us he loves Ophelia more than any brother called like Laertes. And Laertes and Hamlet fight by Ophelia's graveside, but the fight is broken up, and they are patched up by that Gertrude and King. And back at Elsinore, in the Elsinore castle, Hamlet explained to Horatio that he had discovered Claudius' letter with a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern belonging, and replaced it with some fogged copy, indicating that his former friend should be killed instead. So he has planned to kill Rosencrantz and Guildenstern at a foppish courtier Osric. So at that time there is a courtier comes. His name is Osric. These questions are very important in exam. Sometimes his name is asked as who was the courtier who came at that time to ask for fencing match. So Osric interrupted the conversation to deliver the fencing challenge to Hamlet. Now he informs Hamlet that there is going to be a fencing match between you and Laertes, and now Hamlet, despite the Horatio pleas, accepted. Now Horatio is telling Hamlet, he is warning Hamlet, you must not accept that proposal because it can be some trap. But Hamlet accepted that I will go through that fencing match. You can see the pictures here. And Hamlet does all at first, leading the match. Now Hamlet is playing very well the match by 2 hits to none, and Gertrude raises a toast to him. Now Gertrude is very happy with the that victory of Hamlet, and using the poison glass of wine, Claudius has set aside for Hamlet. Now Claudius has set a glass of wine with a poisoned wine, and out of excitement, Gertrude drinks that glass. And now Claudius tries to stop Gertrude by drinking that, but it is too late. Gertrude drinks that poisoned wine, and Leotis realizes the plot will be revealed, and Leotis slashes Hamlet with his poison blades. Now, yeah, Hamlet is hurt by Leotis' sword. In the ensuing scuffle, the switches weapon. There is exchange of weapons, and Hamlet wounds Leotis with his own poisoned sword. So Hamlet is hurt now, and Leot is also wounded because there is an exchange of weapons. And Gertrude collapses because of that poisoned wine, and claiming she has been poisoned, and she dies. In the dying moment, Leotis reconciles with Hamlet, and reveals Claudius' plan that this is behind all this conspiracy. There's only one person, that is Claudius. Hamlet rushes at Claudius and kills him. So Hamlet goes there and he stabs Claudius with that poisoned sword. And whatever there was a glass also, in that glass there was wine also, poison gland. He just pours that glass also, that poison wine, to his mouth also. As the poison takes effect, here Hamlet, hearing that Fortinbras is marching through the area, names the Norwegian prince as his successor. So now Hamlet is dying, Claudius is dead, Gertrude is also dead, and Leotis is also dead, and the prince of Norwegian prince is approaching there in the Denmark in order to attack Denmark. And Horatio, distraught at the thought of being the last survivor and living whilst Hamlet does not. So Hamlet is very much attached to Horatio, and Horatio is also very much attached to Hamlet, and he's not able want to live in this world without Hamlet. And he says that he will commit suicide by drinking the dregs of the Gertrude poison wine, and I will kill myself. But Hamlet begs him to live on, and tells his story, and that you must tell that how I killed my uncle. Otherwise, people, because this is the time, only one person was there who know about the fact that Claudius was responsible for death of senior king, and king was not killed by serpent bite, but he was killed by that poison of Claudius. So you must tell my story to public, otherwise public will hate me. So you must tell this story. You must live on. And Hamlet dies in the Horatio's arms, proclaiming the rest is silence. Fortinbras, who was ostensibly marching towards Poland with his army. So earlier, Fortinbras was marching toward Poland with his army, and he is going through what is that, Denmark, and he arrives at that place, and along with his an English ambassador bringing news of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern death, and Horatio promises to recount the full story of what has happened. And Fortinbras, seeing the entire Danish royal family dead, now whole Danish family is dead before him, and takes the crown for himself. He is now king of Denmark also, and orders a military funeral to honor Hamlet. And he is very much impressed by the bravery of Hamlet, and he has ordered that there must be grand military funeral for Hamlet. So in this way the whole story was, and I hope you have enjoyed this story, and I thank you so much for listening to me patiently. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.